Message from Starfleet Command, top priority.
You are listening to the TrekRanks podcast, a member of the Tricorder Transmissions Podcast Network. This is episode 172, featuring the top 5 scenes on an alien ship. Welcome, Star Trek fans. I am Jim Moorhouse. I'm the host of the TrekRanks podcast, and this is going to be a fun one tonight. Tonight, we're getting back to our Scenes in Trek series for the 15th time. We are doing tonight our top 5 scenes on an alien ship, which is just a massively huge topic, so much ground to cover. So because this one has so many possibilities for choices, we're doubling down and we're having 3 guests tonight instead of 2. So let's get these amazing Trekkies introduced right now. They are all returning favorites. And first up, back for her 5th appearance on the show, hailing us from the East Coast corridor, it's Arielle K. Welcome back, Arielle.
Hey, Jim. Thank you so much for having me on again. Always a pleasure.
A fun one to have you back for. And contacting us from the West Virginia sector, his 3rd TrekRanks appearance, it's Foz Rotten.
Hi, Jim. Thank you so much for having me back, buddy.
Good to hear your voice. Your last appearance was 100 for the top 5 Janeway episode, so way too long.
My captain.
I love it. And our 3rd guest is joining us from the bridge of the USS New Jersey. It's Adam Sanders, returning for his 2nd appearance. Adam.
Hey, Jim, glad to be back. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, Adam, what was your topic? I forgot to check.
I was top 5 first contacts. I came on right before Lower Decks premiered.
First contact, that's a good one too. Okay, man, I barely remember even doing that topic. That is fantastic. Okay, gonna be a great show. I'm gonna re-listen to that one. Gonna be a great show. Let's get started now with our quick TrekRanks recalibration.
What are you recalibrating?
Everything. It's a sweeping, a recalibration of all systems.
Okay, the TrekRanks Charter has 2 clauses. 1, we rank Trek so we can have a fun conversation about Star Trek. And 2, the ranks don't matter. We just use them as the framework to have a deep dive conversation about all the things we love about Trek.
Infinite diversity in infinite combination. Words that are a mere shadow of its true meaning.
And their true meaning on TrekRanks is no wrong answers. This show is about sharing the things we love about Star Trek, and we love it all. From TOS to TNG, straight through the Enterprise and the Kelvin timeline, now Discovery, Picard, Strange New World, Short Treks, Lower Decks, and Prodigy as well. It's all fair game here on the TrekRanks podcast.
Black alert. Black alert.
And a reminder that this episode of TrekRanks is current through the 4th season of Star Trek Lower Decks, 903 overall episodes of Star Trek across the past 57 years. And don't forget, we use episodes as a shorthand term, but the 13 films are always in play, and they are definitely in play tonight.
Hailing frequencies open.
Thank you, Mr. Worf. You can hail me directly on Twitter at TrekRanks or at Enterprise and Extra. And on Blue Sky at TrekRanks, and you can see our extensive rankings of all the treks at TrekRanks.com. And don't forget, you can call and leave us a message with your own picks at 609-512-LLAP. That's 609-512-5527. Okay, Arielle, Foz, and Adam, let everyone know how they can get a hold of you on Subspace. Arielle.
Yeah, sure. You can find me on Twitter, or I guess X now, at Arielle K 18. That's ARIELLE K 18.
And Foz Rotten.
You can find me everywhere at Foz Rotten. If there's a place, I usually have an account, even if I don't use it too much. And also, you can still find me at Boldly Go Band, singing about Star Trek in the punk rock version of it.
We love Star Trek punk rock. Adam, how about you, man?
I can still be found on the artist formerly known as Twitter at MetsFan1701.
Still Twitter, somehow, some way. All right, I think we're ready to run a diagnostic cycle to get into this show.
Computer, run a level 2 diagnostic.
So everyone knows the drill by now. We love our Scenes in Trek series, so we're going to go through our roll call of our previous 14 topics that we've done. Here we go. Scenes in a turbolift, shuttlecraft, Jeffries tube, scenes in a brig, on location, in a cave, in a sick bay, on Earth, in a corridor, scenes on a cliff. We did top 5 fight scenes, scenes in engineering, scenes at a table, scenes in water, and Arielle was on that show. And tonight we're doing top 5 scenes on an alien ship, our 15th scenes in Trek topic. So, what do we mean by scenes on an alien ship? Well, it's a scene in Star Trek that takes place on an alien ship. This is the easiest topic ever. There's so much to choose from. So let's get into it now with our prime directives.
Do they know about Prime Directive? They know everything I know, sir.
And you're about to know everything we know about our prime directive. So, Arielle, let's start with you. How did you break it down? Such a huge topic.
Yeah, so historically, when I've been on TrekRanks, I've just picked based on vibes and what feels the most right. Had to stray from that today because it was such a huge topic. So I narrowed it down by hearing the word alien ship and deciding it meant really alien. So none of our usual suspects. No Vulcans, Klingons, Romulans, Cardassians, anybody we see regularly, they were not in consideration for me. I also decided that the fact that the scene is taking place on an alien ship had to be critical to the scene. It couldn't just happen to take place on an alien ship. And then finally, as always, I narrowed my list by choosing from 5 different series.
Oh my God, this is so great. I did not think of like super alien ship and eliminating some of the regulars. I love this. Okay, Foz, how about you?
Well, mine was pretty much straight ahead. And like Arielle said, you don't just want to pick, oh, here's an alien ship and a fight happened, cut away. It's more of like, what was the scene? What did the scene mean to the characters inside the scene? It just so happened to be on an alien ship. But other than that, I just kind of spread it around the Star Trek universe and had some fun with it.
Okay, perfect. That's similar to me. And Adam, how about you?
Well, I think Azad Bohr might have an issue with me, but I looked at it from a human point of view. So anything was not a human ship, it was an alien ship. So Vulcans, Andorians, Bajorans, all in play. And I looked for moments. I looked for quiet moments that spoke to characters. And I was able to hit 5 different series.
Oh, that's okay. That's impressive. Okay, so my prime directive was a complete hot mess. I usually don't get this unwieldy in trying to make all my picks, but the category is so huge. I was trying a bunch of things, and some of them stuck, and some of them didn't. So I'm just going to rattle off everything that I considered and whether I did it or not. So I thought, okay, all different types of alien species and ships. So not repeating any aliens. Nope, I repeat myself. All in 4 different quadrants I thought about. Nope, I couldn't make that work. All from 5 different series. That one actually stuck. I did make that one work. I decided to eliminate all Borg scenes. I just didn't want to think about the Borg because it's just too many. I eliminated all the movies because there's just so many movie scenes, and it's amazing how big alien ships are in the movies. And then I wanted to make each one like not about an episode where there's a bunch of scenes on an alien ship and you're picking the episode. I wanted to make it about one specific scene, which I was pretty successful doing. There might be one pick that's a little bit more about meshes a couple of scenes together. And yeah, so I took all those elements and just mixed it up, and I got a little bit of everything. Basically, these are just the 5 picks on my long list I just could not push off my list because they're iconic moments that I just want to highlight and talk about. Yeah, a little bit of a mix all over the place, some similarities, but these prime directives were kind of critical for this broad topic. All right, third Ramaticon, let's get into the order of things.
I am a Jem'Hadar. He is a Vorta. It is the order of things.
Thank you, Third Ramaticon. As always, everyone will start with their 5-word summary and a hashtag to tease their pick. Then we'll each reveal our top 5 scenes on an alien ship and the reasons we're highlighting it. And after getting through 5 rounds of picks, we'll then get a few secondary system selections from everyone. And remember, if we have any duplicate picks, make sure you listen for the Defiant Torpedoes. Okay, Arielle, we're starting with you. What's your number 5 pick for your top 5 scenes on an alien ship?
Yeah, sure. So, oh, sorry, I interrupted you.
No, sorry. I can't, I'm too excited. I can't shut up.
No, I get it. Okay, my 5 words and a hashtag for my number 5 pick. Captain Archer in a fishbowl, hashtag the final countdown. And this is Enterprise Season 3, Episode 23, Countdown. The scene on the Xindi aquatic ship, where Archer has to convince the aquatics to help him stop the insectoids and the reptilians from deploying their weapon. This scene maybe it's not one of the most like important or critical or beloved scenes in Trek, but it totally stuck with me since the first time I ever saw it. I think the Xindi Aquatic are so cool, and watching this scene, it looks like Archer and then the representatives of the Xindi arboreals and primates are. It looks like they're in a fishbowl because they're in that one like I don't know, land dweller area for the aquatic ship. It's so great. I just love this. And Scott Bakula does some incredible acting here. It's a great scene.
Yeah, it's like the reverse fishbowl. It's so
right.
It's so good. I did not think of this one, even though this is my top 5 scene for when we did Xindi War moments. This was my number 1 scene, and I did not think of this. Incredible. I
just rewatched the arc, so it was totally on my mind. I rewatched all of season 3.
I cannot love the aquatics anymore. This scene is super, super cool. Foz, what's your take on this one?
I love it. I would say that it's one of the most important scenes in Star Trek, to at least the history and into my personal history as well. One of the best arcs, and that's all I could say is I love it.
Yeah, this is a great season for Archer because you think about the pilot and where Archer started. He was just a guy in space, essentially, and now he's a diplomat and he's trying to bring people together. And it shows really his growth from day one to then.
Yeah, well said. This is exactly him learning and succeeding in that area. I love it. Okay, number 5, Foz, what's your round 5 pick?
Okay, 5 words are not the best first contact, hashtag Star Trek Chainsaw Massacre, and that's Fight or Flight Enterprise, season 1, episode 3, which is the exact opposite end of where he ends up on Arielle's pick whenever they're just starting out, and he's so gung-ho about making first contact. They find this ship, they're all itching to get over there, Trip's begging to go over there, and Hoshi doesn't want to go over there, and she's terrified of it, and they get over there, and she basically walked into the Texas Chainsaw Massacre house, and it's just bloody and brutal, and they're like, oh, this isn't a first contact at all. And while there's not that much talking and everything, dialogue over on the ship, Hoshi screams, just says so much, and it just shows everyone where they're at in the big bad space, and that this is the beginning of the trip. I love it, and that scene always stuck out to me. It was one of the first scenes I thought of whenever Jim gave me this topic.
Oh my God, that's a great one. That's such an underrated second episode of the series. That whole scene's so impactful. Arielle, what's your take on this one?
I kept coming back to Enterprise making this list, and this was my toughest cut. I love this episode. It's kind of an underrated episode. And I'm surprised that we both landed here like in our very first pick. But I think it was a great pick, and I'm glad somebody else mentioned it because it got cut in place of, my first pick.
It really is. It really is an underrated episode. Adam, what's your take on it?
Yeah, that's a great episode too. It gives you those McCoy backing into the corpse hanging from the ceiling vibes.
Oh yeah, yeah, it does.
It's a great episode. Great pick.
Yeah, my favorite part of it is when it's this Archer just after they leave. And he just knows, man, that was the wrong thing to do. What are we doing now here if we're just going to leave? Anyway, love it. Fantastic pick. Another one I did not think of incredibly. So we're starting with 2 Enterprise. I love this. Adam, what's your number 5 pick?
My number 5 words. She has lost all control. Hashtag logic is the beginning of wisdom. And it's Lower Decks, season 2, episode 9, Wage Douche, which I'm sure will be mentioned again at some point. And it's the Vulcan cruiser VCF Schval. So we meet T'Lyn. Gabrielle Ruse, brilliant playing T'Lyn with that deadpan comedy, sarcastic humor. And the entire episode, all the scenes are amazing. But her scenes in particular had me laughing out loud. And I am so happy she's now a regular on Lower Decks.
Yeah, this is... You think we're going to mention this again? How about right now? My 5 words in the hashtag, it's the same. She has lost all control. Hashtag the ultimate T'Lyn-troduction. And it's this introduction of T'Lyn, because I thought about this one. It was in the mix. And then I realized the introduction of T'Lyn is just beyond perfection. It's the scene we're picking is the first time we're really ever on a Vulcan ship, seeing how Vulcans just go about their business. And this conversation that they're having, which is, I am available for chess. I just, their small banter, and then her just kind of explaining that, well, I'm scanning a little further because I've put in some extra, personal algorithms to make the systems, make the long range sensors work better. And they're all just like, you have been spoken to about this. You cannot go off. And then she's like, well, doesn't an anomalous energy, doesn't that seem strange? Anomalies by definition are strange.
It is logical to improve our scanning capabilities instead of observing non-essential systems.
These readings are within acceptable parameters.
Correct. However, this region has never produced this type of anomalous energy. Does that not seem strange?
Anomalies, by definition, are strange.
Something about this feels off.
Feels off? You have been spoken to about this before, T'Lyn.
It is illogical to ignore something of statistical significance. I must inform the captain.
She has lost all control.
This whole scene is Vulcan perfection. T'Lyn is the best. And it's funny to think that kind of you get the whole T'Lyn package in this first introduction of her. Oh, that was another one when she said, well, something feels off. Feels off? You have been spoken to about this before, T'Lyn. So good. Arielle, what's your take on Wedge Douche? And this maybe this is not everybody's list. Who knows? What's your take?
It's not. I'll tell you right now, it's not on my list because it didn't fit my prime directive, but it's top of my secondary systems because "Live long and prosper, sir" is one of the best lines in all of Star Trek. T'Lyn is an incredible character. Wedge Douche is an incredible episode. Her introduction couldn't have been more perfect. I would have, specifically highlighted the scene at the end where she's talking to her captain and being told, she's going to be transferred to a Starfleet ship, and sees it as a punishment. And now, in light of, the season 4 of Lower Decks having aired, and we see how she starts to actually mesh with that crew. Oh, it's such a brilliant episode, and I'm so glad it's gotten picked twice already.
Yeah, brilliant. Foz, what's your take?
Same. I love it. It was on my secondary systems. I was just trying to veer a little more away from like Vulcan or something like that. Yeah. But honestly, it's one of the best episodes for Vulcans.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, and when you think about this is the first time we really are on a Vulcan ship and see them operating. It's kind of a miracle. And I forgot, Arielle, your prime directive means you're not picking any Vulcan ships. I love this. Okay, so round 1, we get 2 Enterprise and 2 Lower Decks. How cool is that? Let's go to round 4. Arielle, what do you got?
Yeah, sure. So 5 words in a hashtag. Best cold open in Star Trek. Hashtag the weak shall perish. And I'm cheating a little bit because my scene won't be from the cold open. But the episode is Scorpion Part 1, which is Voyager Season 3, Episode 23. The introduction of species 8472. I specifically want to highlight the scene where we have the away mission with Chakotay, Harry Kim, and Tuvok going to explore the damaged Borg cube with the 8472 bioship attached to the side. That is so alien. And Star Trek doesn't do horror very often, but they do it well most of the time. And Scorpion does it so beautifully. I am very sensitive to body horror. So the kind of imagery in this scene is so striking. We see the pile of like Borg drone bodies and the one drone in its alcove kind of tweaking out. You can tell there's something really bad happening there. I mean, the tension in this ship, and for people, coming out of TNG Borg, where they're this monolithic, like terrifying villain, what can destroy the Borg? This scene is just incredible, and 8472 is so alien. Could not get this off of my list, even if the Borg are recurring, because 8472 are not really, and they're brilliant.
Honest to God, how did I not think of this introduction to species 8472? This is just all-time classic Star Trek. Like you said, it's really well done, kind of horror element with Harry, and this just works on every level, and it stood the test of time for 25 years now. I love this pick. Foz, what's your take on species 8472 in Scorpion?
scary as hell. I agree with everything that you said. When they do horror, they do it well normally. And I hate to admit it because Voyager is my favorite show, that whenever I look at these aliens, it's probably not the best CG anymore, but it still has that special scary place in my heart from back whenever they premiered. They'll never not be frightening.
Yeah, I think it still stands at that. They didn't overuse it in a way that it really stands out.
Well, as someone who watched it yesterday to prepare, when I was making this list, it stood the test of time. It's still spooky.
Especially in this episode where it's really tight. So, Adam, what's your take on Scorpion?
That's a great pick, Arielle. I'm kind of embarrassed I didn't even make my second.
I know, me too.
But the pile of bodies scene is always the one that makes you start. It makes you jump. And then poor Harry going through Harry must suffer moments in the episode. It's a great pick.
Yeah, that's legitimate horror. The pile of bodies. I love it.
Can I take this opportunity to point something out from that episode and just wonder if anyone else has noticed it? The scene right after this, where you see Harry Kim after he got attacked by somebody from Species 8472, and you see that it's kind of taking over his body. They zoom in on his face when Janeway says something like "Fight it, Harry" or whatever she says, and you see one single tear falling down the side of his face. I really wonder if that was deliberate, callback to Best of Both Worlds, where you see Picard getting assimilated.
Oh, wow.
Where they, that scene where they, stick something in his ear and he turns white, and then you see the one tear falling down his face. I wonder if that was deliberate, because it's a perfect parallel.
I never thought of that. Yeah, and it is a perfect parallel. It's both, season 3 into 4, and it's kind of their iconic each series iconic moment. At the same time in their run. Yeah. Wow.
The angle and the emotion in that scene is really it's a really good parallel. A character being, taken over at the physical level and losing their autonomy, and it's just the exact same angle for that single tear. And I only noticed it last time I watched it, and I didn't know if this was deliberate, but it was awesome.
I like that. It could well be. And there's so many parallels between Picard and Harry Kim. Oh wait, no, there's not.
None at all.
None at all. Oh, okay. Or maybe blue uniform Picard and Harry Kim. Okay, Foz, what's your round 4 pick?
Okay. The 5 words are, "I'll kill you for this." Hashtag, "I'll kill you." The Enterprise incident from TOS.
Oh my God, this is my toughest cut. I'm so glad you picked this. So cool.
It's, as Jim knows, I love all Star Trek, but have never been Mr. Original Series. I grew up with TNG and everything else. But this is one of my favorite TOS episodes. And when I was thinking on it, I was like, I'd like to actually have a original series pick for once, where I never do. And I was like, oh, Spock being the ladies' man with the Romulan commander. I was like, this has to be on here. So as far as the scene specific, I don't know. It could be the one where he's giving up Kirk, and Kirk's just yelling, or it could be all the foreplay where the Romulan commander's coming on to Spock, and it could be the whole episode for me.
Yeah, the one that jumps out, the one that I was really considering picking, it was literally my last cut, was the corridor scene where Spock is walking with the Romulan commander, and he kind of purposely turns toward the cloaking room where he knows he's not allowed. She pulls him out of there, and then she invites him to dinner, and he says, "Are the guards also invited?" So smooth.
I neglected to mention, I'll expect you for dinner. We have much to discuss.
Indeed.
Allow me to rephrase. Will you join me for dinner?
I am honored, Commander. Are the guards also invited?
The Enterprise incident. Arielle, any take?
Yeah, it didn't make my list. I'm admittedly not the biggest TOS connoisseur, but I was talking to a friend recently And this episode came up, and it's one of her favorites. So I'm going to have to make her watch this now.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's so good. Okay. Adam, what's your number 4 pick?
Okay. 5 words on a hashtag. Danger, Gomtu, do not allow. Hashtag, what is the purpose of existence? And it's TNG Season 3, Episode 20, Tin Man aboard Gomtu.
I love this pick. I didn't think of this one either.
And
it's so good.
And it's Season 3, so Data is still exploring his humanity, trying to find himself. And Tam Elbrun is wounded. He doesn't know where he belongs, and Data is still trying to understand his place. And then the episode I picked is that last episode where they think Data is lost, and he appears back on the Enterprise. And he tells Troy in the observation lounge that Tam and Tin Man saved each other. As he said, through joining, they've been healed. Grief has been transmuted to joy. Loneliness is belonging. So Data feels that he has his family and he belongs on the Enterprise.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal moment, phenomenal scene. Everything that takes place on Gomtu is so well done. It feels so alien. The score, I'm assuming that's Ron Jones, is just hypnotic. And, I said it already, the alienness of that bridge and the chair and the wall and Data's hand going into it. It's just all so well done. But then also just this connection where Tam Elbrun can feel peace and solitude. God, I just love that.
I love it. It's a really good Data episode. As he was saying, it's earlier on. So Data's still trying to figure everything out, but it's just such a fantastic episode.
So good. Okay. It's my pick. Let's close out round 4. All right. Yeah, this one's an outlier, and I'm cheating a little bit on this one. I'm picking 2 episodes with 2 amazing kind of bookend scenes in the same location on an alien ship, and I just could not get this one off my list. I love it. 5 words on a hashtag. Klingon fights chart new era, hashtag sarcophagus. And it is Star Trek Discovery Battle at the Binary Stars and Into the Forest I Go. And it's these bookend Burnham fight scenes on the bridge of Takuvma's sarcophagus ship. And so I'll break these down really quick. Battle at the Binary Stars. You got Burnham and Georgiou. They beam over. They end up having these dual fights with Takuvma and Voq. Burnham ends up killing Takuvma, revenging Georgiou's death, even though the whole plan was to make sure they don't kill him. And all that, she's fighting Voq, and they have that incredibly emotional moment where they beam out without Georgiou's body, and just Sonequa Martin Green's reaction on the transporter pad back on Discovery is incredible. And it ends with Voq reciting Takuvma's prayer on the bridge of the sarcophagus ship, and I love that. And then in Into the Forest I Go, 8 episodes later, you've got Burnham is now on the ship with Ash Tyler, who's Voq. Incredible bookend to Binary Stars. And now she confronts Cole in the same place that she let her captain die and challenges him to a fight after kind of revealing, she was there before and saw Takuvma killed, and she actually killed Takuvma.
And this belonged to your captain.
Her name was Captain Philippa Georgiou. I regret that my actions that day have locked our people into this war.
While I thank you for it, my rise to power would not be possible if not for the assassination of Takuvma. Lock her up. Once I return with the slayer of their messiah, what remains of Takuvma's torch-bearing fools will have no choice but to fall in line.
If you are to capture me, then prove your worth. Takuvma defeated the woman whom that belonged to. Do me the same honor.
Just really well done. He grabs Georgiou's Delta before she beams out, and of course the whole point was to give Discovery enough time to finish their jumps so they could take that ship out, and then we see Cole getting blown up on that ship.
I accept your challenge, human.
I love it. Incredible. The sarcophagus ship was amazing for the half season that it was around. Super cool sets, really huge and massive, and we get a lot of Kenneth Mitchell as Cole. So love these 2 bookend scenes. Arielle, what's your take?
I had a big mental debate with myself about whether the sarcophagus counted as alien because it's Klingon, but it's also the sarcophagus, which is so different.
Right.
And I stuck to my guns on my Prime Directive, and I did not end up, considering any scenes on the sarcophagus. But I really, really wanted to, and I'm so glad it got mentioned. Because it was pretty much.
Yeah, I'm impressed you thought of it. Yeah.
I rewatched Discovery very recently, so it's again right at the front of my mind, and I just think it's such a cool ship. I tried really hard to tease out, favorite scenes on an alien ship from favorite alien ships,
Right.
and that's kind of what led me to this Prime Directive I have. But it's such a great scene.
It makes sense.
It's a great set of scenes.
It's definitely a Klingon ship, so it makes sense that you eliminated it. Foz, what's your take on these Discovery scenes?
Oh, those pics are so good. I came this close to having Vulcan Hello on there and discussing the ship and the whole "We Come in Peace" speech and everything. So that was on the secondary systems, but you used it much better than I was. That's great.
I love it. Adam, how about you?
First of all, Sonequa Martin Green deserves all the awards.
Yes,
let's make that clear.
Incredible.
But her face in the helmet on the way to the ship, with the pure joy of making it there, and then the horror of watching Giorgio die, that is a great pick.
Yeah, I mean, and they just the fact that they bookend them in that first half of the season, it's just really well structured season. I love Discovery season 1. Okay. Oh, we're at the soup round already. Let's do it. Arielle, what's your number 3 pick?
Eat your soup, courtesy of a loyal establishment. Jolanne True.
So I might be inviting some controversy with my 5 words and a hashtag. And that's fine, although this might not be the place for the debate. 5 words and a hashtag, most Star Trek resolution ever. Hashtag a child scream. My pick is Discovery Season 3, Episode 11, Su'Kal. For the holodeck ship, and so many scenes that take place there. But I want to specifically highlight the scene at the end where Saru is singing a Kelpian lullaby to calm down Su'Kal and prevent another burn. Doug Jones is such an incredible, expressive actor, and it's honestly a shame that he's covered by the Saru makeup all the time. You can't see how expressive he is. So where he's just a human here, it's incredible. And the backdrop of this scene with the Gormaganders flying and the crazy staircases, this is just such a cool scene.
What a beautiful pick. I am a huge fan of Su'Kal, huge fan of Discovery Season 3. I love the ending. I love everything that happened with the reason and the discovery of the burn.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad you like it. I do too.
That fits Star Trek so well. I get it, people. It's like, oh, kids scream caused the burn. Yeah, that shit's been happening in Star Trek for 55 years. Sorry.
Exactly.
Just, watch the show. Watch the show. Because there's stuff like that all the time where, Spock feels the death of 400 Vulcans in the immunity syndrome, and the list goes on and on for things like that in Star Trek for 60 years. Anyway, I love this final 3-parter. Su'Kal is just a fantastic, mind-bending episode. That whole moment when they beam down and they're all different species was so clever and so well done. I just was really excited. I blown away by this pick. Would never even say, oh, I can't believe I didn't think of it. I would never have thought of this one. It's brilliant. This is so good. Foz, what's your take?
I love it. Season 3 Discovery is one of my favorite. Yeah. I think that the mystery that was all wrapped up within the season paid off so well. And you're right. This is the most alien ship you can think of, because even when they're on there, they have no idea what the ship actually is. They have to tear through all the layers to really figure it out. And I would have never thought of this. I love it.
Yeah, it's really spectacular. Adam, how about you?
Arielle, I am 100% on your side. This is a great Star Trek moment. And to see Doug Jones as Doug Jones finally was, I'm sure he had a lovely day in the makeup chair that day. But Bill Irwin playing Su'Kal was, what a get to get him. He was so good in the role. And yeah, the confusion of everybody involved of what was happening and how they kind of Star Trek a resolution and a way to proceed makes this really beautiful episode.
Yeah, Huge fan of Discovery Season 3. Bill Irwin's amazing. God, I just saw him in a show yesterday, and he was phenomenal again. Oh, it was a new Netflix movie. Rustin. It's gonna get some with Coleman Domingo. Anyway, I digress. But Bill Irwin was in it, had a small role, and he was awesome. He always is so good. Okay, shutting up. Let's go to Foz. What's your soup round pick?
Okay, number 3, the Eating Live Gok round. Hashtag Captain Riker. TNG's A Matter of Honor.
Of course. I felt like somebody was going to pick this. I love it.
I had to. I was sitting there. I was like, soup. What's better than soup? Love Gok. Matt, yeah, it's of course the scene where they're in the mess hall, and he's learning all the intricacies of Klingon life and how they live, and they're finding out about his life and the way he lives, and that he's not as timid as they think, and that they're not as barbaric as he thinks, and maybe they can meet somewhere in the middle. And it's early on enough in TNG that we can really start to explore the Klingons more than we have before.
You're not worried about my weakening, are you?
Look around you. There are no old warriors.
No, sir. I'm sure they all died with honor.
Exactly. You may live long enough to learn about us.
He is not very attractive, but I will have him.
They are inquisitive. They would like to know how you would endure.
Endure what?
Them.
One or both?
This scene's always stayed with me. It's always stuck out to me. I wish I remembered the supporting actor's name, but that supporting actor that was, under him, that he, kicked his ass in the beginning of the episode, and, won his honor with. I've always loved him appearing in things, but I just love this episode.
One or both? Love this scene. Arielle, what's your take? This is a classic.
Yeah, this is an awesome pick. I thought of it, and then of course didn't meet my prime directive. But I'm so glad you brought it up. It's so great. The scene in like the mess hall where you have Riker eating with the Klingons, and I guess proving his worth or whatever to them. It's a great episode.
This was number 6 in my top 5, my toughest cut. Where my five words were Gok is best served live, and hashtag he's not attractive, but I will have him.
That's right. So good.
Yeah, that scene where they kind of, pardon the expression, they humanize the Klingons a little. They have problems with their fathers, and sons and fathers clash, and then Riker eats the Gok, and he gets a little grunt of approval at the end, and it shows they have so much in common. It's a brilliant episode.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And I'll just tease this a little bit. You mentioned Foz. That actor's Brian Thompson, right? Incredible recurring kind of character actor in a lot of great shows, the X-Files, Star Trek. Mm-hmm. He's going to feature again in this episode of TrekRanks. Okay, a little tease. Let's go to Adam. What's your soup round pick?
5 words. What's a Vulcan death grip? Hashtag first officer of the Enterprise.
I love it.
And it's, again, TOS Season 3, Episode 4, The Enterprise Incident on the Romulan Warbird. And the scene I picked is what was originally supposed to be Spock kissing the commander up and down, where they protest. I think Leonard Nimoy protested, and it became the classic finger-touching scene that repeats throughout Star Trek and how Vulcans show love. But this is also such a heartbreaking episode for Spock, because you can see if in a different time and place, these two would have worked. And at the end of the episode, when she walks away and he gives the eyebrow raise to the camera, he's thinking of that as well. So it's a beautiful episode.
Yeah, that's so well said. All right, first let's take care of business. Fire those phasers. I love how you frame that, Adam. It's really powerful, and that the emotion between the two is real, right? None of that's fake. It's so well done and so memorable. And so I'm just impressed that we've all kind of thought about this one, 55 years removed from it, to think like, top 5 scene on Alien Ship. Yeah, that one, of course. Because
and Joanne Linville,
so impactful. So well done. Any final comments on the Enterprise incident, you guys?
I was trying my hardest to make a 5 words or a hashtag to include ladies love cool Spock, or work into like, young hot Spock or something like that. It just didn't work.
Well done. Okay, let's move on to my round 3 pick. And incredibly, this is the first time I've ever picked this episode. I really can't believe this when I looked it up. So this is the very first scene on an alien ship in the history of Star Trek. Very deserving. 5 words and a hashtag. First Federation Fesarius finds friends. Hashtag both proud of our ships. And of course is the Corbomite maneuver from TOS season 1, production episode number 3, and series aired episode number 10. And it's that amazing final scene where Kirk has been battling with this crazy, mysterious Fesarius ship. They've been threatening to destroy him the whole episode, cat and mouse. And then when it turns out they're in need of some help at the end of the episode, he's got this, memorable scene where Kirk, McCoy, and Bailey beam over to the ship to try to offer help and investigate. And the whole thing is just incredible, right? They have to crouch to beam over, which is so cool. The set is amazing with like drapes and curtains everywhere, and they find the puppet, and then you've got Clint Howard, who's basically a baby, playing this amazing character with the big eyebrows and bald head, and serving Tranya, and he's on his creepy little sofa couch. And I love everything about this first ever alien ship scene in Star Trek. Foz, what's your take?
Clint Howard is one of my all-time heroes, and has been creepy since the day he was born until today. Just looking at Clint Howard, he looks like an alien. So I love this pick so much.
So good. Arielle, how about you?
I cannot believe you've never picked this before on TrekRanks. I'm still stuck on that.
Couldn't believe it.
The Corbomite maneuver. What a good pick. Yeah, I cannot believe this didn't cross my mind, but it's fantastic.
Yeah, it is. It's legendary. Adam, any take?
Yeah, this was number 8 in my top 5.
I love it.
It's great because it's one of the, like you said, it's the beginning, and Kirk teaches acceptance and communication rather than destruction.
Yep.
So it kind of lays the groundwork for him. And to cross-promote, listen to Trek Untold. One of their most recent interviews was with Clint Howard, and he discusses that scene. And it's really, really brilliant.
Yeah, that one's in my queue. I need to listen to that. And this, like you said, this sets the table for Kirk. It sets the table for all of Star Trek, right? This is Star Trek. This final 8 minutes of the episode. Brilliant. Okay, here we go. Round 2. Arielle.
Sure. Might want to get those Defiant torpedoes ready though. My 5 words and a hashtag, and this was a little bit of a risk, is on an alien dash ship. Hashtag - changes the prompt, where alien dash ship, the alien is the ship, TNG season 3 episode 20, Tin Man, which is of course just an all-time great TNG episode. And of course I also went for that scene at the end where you have Data and Tam Elbrun on GOM2, and you just see Data start to understand Tam, and Tam start to, for the first time, feel peace, and they ride off into the sunset together, or not so much. But yeah, this I think was the very first episode I thought of for this prompt.
Oh, it really was. That's so cool. I mean, I already gushed about how much I love Tin Man and GOM2 and the great Harry Shearer portraying Tam Elbrun.
Editor's note, did I just say Harry Shearer? I meant Harry Groner, of course. The great Harry Groner.
Any other further comments, Adam and Foz?
Arielle, 100% right. I agree. Like I said, this is one of the first couple I thought of, just because of the quiet, like I said in the beginning, my prime directive was the quiet moments. And this at the end was that perfect quiet moment.
The perfect quiet moment. Okay, Foz, let's go to your round 2 pick. What do you got?
Okay. This is a more of a somber one. 5 words. Hope it was worth it. Hashtag so do I. DS9's The Ship.
Yes.
Good
and it's, the scene after they figured out what they were looking for. It was the founder all along, and the founder has passed away, and then she comes over there. All the troops have laid themselves to rest because they failed their god, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
And then they just have the whole conversation about how if they just trusted each other, everybody'd still be whole. And I just gotta say I loved Muniz as well. You're rooting for him the whole episode, and then it doesn't work out. But you do get that fantastic scene at the end with Worf and Chief O'Brien at the end watching over him. And this episode's always a little sad and teary-eyed. But I wanted to definitely put it on there because they're in an alien ship. They don't know how anything works. They're trying to figure out everything while all the stuff's going on around them. It's just a classic episode.
Brilliant. I definitely thought of this one, but I ended up not picking it because it's more like the whole episode is an incredible scene on an alien ship. It's so well done. It would be impossible to choose. So 2 thoughts. Well, one, I picked that final scene with Worf and O'Brien, and that was one of my top 5 Worf scenes because I love that moment for Worf. And the most incredible thing for me about this episode, I always think about this when I think about this episode, is how somehow you don't see it coming with that it was the founder that was on the ship, right? Like once the founder shows up and turns to dust, it's like, of course it was a founder. How did I not think of that? It
still surprises you.
Yeah, how did I not think of that 30 minutes ago? What's wrong with me? But it's so well done, so well structured. Absolutely all-time epic episode of Deep Space Nine. Arielle, what's your take?
Oh, what an all-time classic. Such a great episode. And it's just a gut punch. I mean, you spend the whole episode building up to this gut-wrenching reveal that it was a founder and everyone died for something that if they had just communicated, it could have been avoided. This episode is one of my all-time favorites. I'm so glad you brought it up.
Yeah, Foz, I'm glad you picked this because this was another tough cut of mine. But I focused on a different part. My 5 words were Kike, we hardly knew you. And this was one of the first episodes that really showed painful war in Star Trek. I mean, usually somebody dies by a phaser and they're gone, or the knife that seems to kill everybody and they're gone. But he died slowly and painfully, and it destroyed the crew.
Yeah.
And this was, I mean, you'll see it later in other episodes, but this was really the first where you got to really enjoy a character and feel for them, and all of a sudden they're gone and people see pain. So this was a great episode for that as well.
Yeah, they did an amazing job introducing Muniz a few episodes in advance of this. Really, really well done. Okay. Adam, what's your round 2 pick?
Well, my 5 words were agonizing scream burns the stars. Hashtag a son's love for his mother. And this was Discovery Season 3, Episode 13, That Hope Is You, Part 2 on the camp.
Yes.
I picked the scene where he finally goes past the monster and they all go in and they see the holographic recreation of them all dying. And Su'Kal sees his mother die from the radiation. And because of what happens to him, I think it's his polyploid physiology, his scream destroys, the dilithium and the burn. But it's Su'Kal's reaction to losing his mother more than anything else gets me. And then he turns around and sees Saru as a Kelpian, and he realizes he's not going to be alone. So that moment is what does it for me.
I'm literally speechless. You guys both picked this amazing Kelpian ship on this planet at the core of Discovery Season 3 and this final 3-parter. I'm blown away because I love this so much. I mean, I already kind of completely gushed about it in Su'Kal, and I love this ending, that moment. Wow, I'm so impressed. Arielle, any other take? I can't believe you guys both picked this.
I feel like we just came at the same idea from two different angles, and I'm glad we got to talk about it a little more.
Yeah.
This is just a great Star Trek, like an all-time great Star Trek concept, and I wish it got 100% love and respect, but nothing will. So
no.
I'm glad it's getting the love and respect it deserves here.
Yeah, for sure. Foz, any thoughts?
I just love that we're talking about this, storyline so much. Hopefully, Discovery Season 3 will go down as one of the classic storylines and seasons in all of Star Trek. It really is great.
Yeah, spectacular. Oh my God. Okay. Well done. My round 2 pick. God, I love this one. 5 words in a hashtag. At least try the Venarine. Hashtag, I've smelled better Venarine on prison ships. And it is the captain's mess hall scene on the Directive class Romulan Warbird in TNG Space of the Enemy, Season 6, Episode 14. And yeah, I think everyone knows this incredible scene where Troy has been turned into, or is being forced to pose as a member of the Tal Shiar, Major Raquel, on board a Romulan warbird against her will, and she's sparring with Sub-Commander Toreth, the great Carolyn Seymour, in this incredible mess hall, captain's mess scene where she joins them for dinner, and she has no idea what Venarine is, so she's trying to fake it, and she comes up with this incredible line that she smelled better Venarine on prison ships, and there's this super, just like a masterpiece cat and mouse between Toreth and Troy as Raquel. And I love this moment where Toreth talks about how her father was just an innocent old man who was taken out by the Tal Shiar and disappeared. And everything about this moment kind of makes this whole episode work. Maybe Marina Sirtis' best performance as Troy. And all-time great stuff. This one was written by Naren Shankar, who's gone on just to do a bunch of stuff, and Renee Echeverria. So all-time classic, TNG, Face of the Enemy. Arielle, what's your take?
Oh, great pick. Another incredible one that got lost to my Prime Directive, but I'm so glad it came out. It's been a while since I've rewatched this episode, but I can see and hear the scene you're talking about. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's that good. Adam, any thoughts?
This is Troy's finest moment. Where she finally has something to do and she takes over and she does it so well. And yes, I can hear the scene as well when she's just destroying Romulan commander. Also, we have Scott McDonald back in this episode, and he's obviously an all-time classic Star Trek actor.
That's another great all-time character actor for Trek, Scott McDonald. Foz, what's your take?
This was almost on my list. It was the hardest cut. If like everybody else was saying, I was going to say this is number 6 on mine. Yeah, exactly what you all said. This is one of Troy, the Troy episode for me, the one I always think about. This is one of the first episodes I thought about for this list. I love it.
Yeah, pretty much perfect. Okay. Oh, we're at round 1 already. Let's do it. Arielle, what's your number 1 pick?
Begin round 1.
My 5 words in a hashtag, and I'm not kidding, are hope it was worth it, hashtag so do I. I'm not kidding. It's written down right in front of me.
Oh my God.
DS9 season 5, episode 2, The Ship. You could see you could hear how thrilled I was when you brought it up already. I rewatched it 2 days ago, and then I rewatched it again because I was like, this needs to be like seared into my memory as all-time excellent Trek. And again, I'm going for that scene at the end of the episode where you have Sisko talking to the Vorta, and she asks, can I at least take a portion of the founder's remains? And Sisko, just so dejected and defeated, goes, of course. But the delivery of that line is just a gut punch. Just, of course you can. Like, I'm not a terrible person. I'm not here to, for the deaths of all of the Jem'Hadar. I was here, I don't know. I'm just a human being, and look at all these people who died because you couldn't tell me that it was a founder, and you didn't trust me, and I didn't trust you. Just an incredible moment.
Prepare for an assault. Tell Warp Commander. Where are your soldiers?
They're dead. They killed themselves. Why?
Because they allowed a founder to die.
You should have trusted me.
How could I? The first word out of your mouth was a lie. This isn't your first mission outside the Dominion, is it?
I regret saying that. But my offer was genuine. All that mattered to me was the Founder.
Then you should have told me about him.
You might have killed him or made him a hostage.
No. All I wanted was the ship.
And I was willing to let you take it.
Oh, yes. The runabout crew. Your soldiers. They'd all still be alive if we had trusted each other.
I have no way of stopping you from taking the ship. All I ask is that you allow me to remove some of the Founder's remains.
Of course.
Do you have any gods, Captain Sisko?
There are things I believe in.
Duty? Starfleet, the Federation. You must be pleased with yourself. You have the ship to take back to them. I hope it was worth it.
So do I.
I thought about this episode for like a week after I watched it for the first time, and it didn't help that I was immediately attached to Kike Munoz. What a great, like, one of my favorite, like, not necessarily, obviously not a one-off, but close to one-off Star Trek character. I got two of those in here. Him and Elbrun are both just incredible, like, short-lived characters who get you to like them and you get attached to them, and then they're gone.
Yeah, I mean, Munoz, man, that I would have loved to see more of that character. Yeah, this is just a fucking perfect episode of Star Trek. I love it all time. This is an all-timer. Any other thoughts on the ship, you guys?
I think I'm gonna go pour one out for Kike now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was just thinking about like all the people in the shuttle up top too, you know, like they're just gone instantly, and then it all kicks off.
Oh yeah.
You know, so you don't even have time to think about them.
Amazing. Yeah, and I mean every scene too, like just them trying to figure out how to work it, them, you know, all the fights in the corridor with the upside down ship. It's just all so good, so well done. I love it. Okay, Foz, what's your number one pick?
Okay, this is one of my favorite ones here. 5 words. Where did the dinosaurs go? Hashtag eyes open. Voyager's distant origin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one. I did not think of this. Yep.
I love this episode. I'd put it on every list if I could fit it into every list. You know, whenever he brings back Chakotay at the end to, you know, the big government ship, and you know, Chakotay has to have his speech along with him to try to reach, you know, what was her name, the governess or the empress, whatever her name was, the head honcho.
Yes.
And she just wouldn't see past it. She wouldn't see past anything. And whenever he absolutely refused, she did the only thing that she knew he would go for, and that he didn't want to make other people suffer. He would suffer all around. But she threatened all the Voyager crew, and you know, he was a proud scientist, and he wasn't going to have other people ruined for it, and that's the only reason he caved. But that whole scene, it just, you know, it stays with you, and that's just one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah, Distant Origin is so memorable, such an impactful episode, and very much the origin of my "Doctrine sucks" mantra that you hear quite frequently on TrekRanks. Doctrine being a code word for something else, but yeah, Doctrine sucks, and this episode showcases just exactly how much it sucks. Arielle, what's your take?
Yeah, so I didn't pick this because I picked it for Abstract Silences.
Oh, you did? That's awesome.
Well, yeah, I thought it was just, I mean, I went very abstract for that.
Yeah, that's
episode.
super abstract.
but I was like, I picked it. I was on for that episode.
Yeah.
Because they, just refuse to see what's right in front of you. They're silent to the truth or something to that effect. I don't know what I said at the time. Love this episode. I'm so glad it got talked about. Again, I would pick this for everything. It's in probably my top 10, easily top 10 Voyager episodes. And Doctrine sucks. I could, get a bumper sticker, Doctrine sucks, right? Or whatever.
Jim, we gotta get TrekRanks t-shirts and I'll wear them.
Doctrine sucks.
I would wear that.
Doctrine sucks. I like that. That's good.
And that and if you made t-shirts, put Soup Round on one and Doctrine sucks on the other.
Fantastic.
I buy them all.
Adam, what's your take?
Personally, I'm waiting for the pew 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 hat, but we'll get to that. Yes, Doctrine sucks, and this is definitely a top 10 Voyager episode for me. It's just a brilliant idea. If somebody said, "What if the dinosaurs made it off Earth?" But it also makes you think about wars through history. We can't be one of them. We are better than them. Let's destroy them.
Right.
It's an episode. That's what this episode made me think of.
Yeah.
And again, to cross promote Trek Untold, Concetta Tomei, great interview with her.
Oh yeah, she's the actor that played
Minister.
Wait,
Minister. That's what I was looking for.
Concetta Tomei.
Oh, I don't think I knew that was her. Oh my god, that's crazy. Now I need to go through a rabbit hole on that one. That's amazing. I love that we talked about this and barely we talked about it. Yeah, dinosaurs made it off Earth. That makes perfect sense. We love it. Star Trek rules.
I love the holodeck scene so much where they're going through the evolution, and it's just like,
it's so good. Their ship is all. Everything about this episode just rules, and it's one of those ones that people just don't forget. So awesome pick. Okay, Adam, what's your number one pick?
Well, this is the first episode I thought of for my quiet moments in Prime Directive. And in 5 words, the Cisco's sail into history, #hammock time. And it's DS9 Season 3, Episode 22, Explorers.
It's an alien ship. That's so smart. Oh my God.
Yes.
And this is an episode of first. We have Cisco's goatee. We have Jake trying to set up his dad with a pilot named Cassidy Yates. We have Chase Masterson. And one of the best scenes in the whole episode was Brian and Julie getting drunk and singing Jerusalem.
Yeah.
But as when I watched this episode first as a son, and then you watch it again as a father with a son, this episode and The Visitor, and it shows the best relationship in all of Star Trek.
Yeah.
And it's Jake and Ben. It's this quiet moment and him understanding that his son wants to not be in Starfleet, wants to be a writer, and he's encouraging him to go to the school and be the writer and live his passion and live his dream.
Yeah.
This to me is the heart of Deep Space Nine, is this relationship. And this had to be number one.
It's such a fun pick too, because you don't think of it as a alien ship because it's Jake and Ben, but it's Bajoran light ship. So brilliant. It's such a fun, quiet, thoughtful episode. Really, really good stuff. And the ending is just so gratifying when they pick up the tacky.
Ducat has to eat his words.
Ducat's got to just eat it. So good. Arielle, what's your take?
Oh, so great. I have a confession. I was talking to my closest friend. I mentioned this, that I was going to be on this episode, and she begged me to pick this. I did not.
That's funny.
She genuinely begged me. And I said, listen, it doesn't fit my Prime Directive. And that's why I said, no Bajoran ships. And then I thought about any other time I'd ever seen a Bajoran ship. They're few and far between.
Yeah,
such a great pick. Just this episode is warm and fuzzy, and it makes me so happy. And this is an episode I'll put on at 1 a.m. if I can't sleep or something, something's bothering me. It's just, this is a warm blanket episode, or episodes for a rainy day is what we talked about earlier. It's just so good. I'm so glad it came up. I love it.
That's so good. You said that about Bajoran ships. I'm thinking now I want to change my number one pick to the only other Bajoran ship we see in Shadows and Images when Squid Kira's being an total badass.
There's another.
Is there
I'll
another
give you one
Bajoran?
more.
What's another?
Yeah, it's in. Oh God, I don't remember which of the episodes, but the Circle, Siege, Homecoming, that trilogy. Where you have that really subtle scene with Kira and Jadzia trying to operate a ship from the resistance that was in a cave somewhere.
Pookaloo's. No, Palooka.
Yes, whatever the little spidery, fluffy things.
Yeah, little furry spider dogs. Good one. That is another Bajoran ship. I love it. Sorry, we digress. Foz, what's your take on Explorers?
Adam, I'm so glad you picked this one. This one was on my list for like 3 days, and it finally, I replaced it because I didn't want to have 2 DS9s on there. And that was one of the things I was thinking, like, oh yeah, how alien is this ship? By definition. And even at the end, whenever the Cardassians have to say, oh yes, we have found ancient wreckage,
Right.
and then it would be ancient wreckage of this type of ship that they've rebuilt from blueprints. And that's a lot like the doctrine that we were talking about in my number 1 episode, where they didn't want to have to admit that Cardassians were not first in that area of space.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. All right, we're gonna close it out. My number 1. We started with Star Trek Enterprise. We're gonna end with Enterprise. Gonna give them some major props. This is one of my. I truly believe, without hyperbole, this is my favorite scenes on an alien ship in Star Trek. I love these moments. 5 words in a hashtag. Good at blowing things up. Hashtag Lieutenant Malcolm Reed. And it is Enterprise Season 4, Episode 13. It's United, the 2nd episode of the Romulan Andorian trilogy. And it's all these scenes, one in particular with Trip and Reed stuck on this Romulan drone ship trying to navigate it and get off. And this kind of bleeds between a few scenes, but the main part of this is I love this moment where they get to the bridge and it's empty and they realize there's nobody on this ship. And so they start having this cat and mouse game with who? Brian Thompson, the Romulan, back on Romulus, who's controlling the ship. And the back and forth is just really clever, where they kind of are figuring out how to work the bridge, get life support going, figure out propulsion, open a door. Trip goes in there, starts working on stuff. The Romulans close it to separate them. They're going to basically choke out Trip with radiation poisoning. So Malcolm's got to try to save the day by resetting the connection for the warp. But at the same time, he's set up a phaser on overload, so they get in there and are able just to get out in time, blow up the bridge of this thing, and we get this incredible, all-time, fantastic, iconic Malcolm Reed line when Trip is questioning, like, man, you really did a number on that bridge. You're good at building things. I'm good at blowing them up. Just all-time fantastic stuff. I love everything going on this drone ship between these 2 great friends and great characters on Enterprise. One of my favorites.
You did all this with one phase pistol? You're good at building things. I'm good at blowing them up. I'm thinking we should get to the outer hull. And we might be safer finding another area with life support. The hull's covered with subspace transceivers. If I can link one of them to our communicators, we might be able to contact Enterprise.
Arielle, what's your take on this one?
It's a really good scene. A great episode in a great season that I wish we had gotten more of.
It's a fun one. It seems like every talk of any season 4 episode goes to, I wish there was more of Enterprise.
Again, another abstract silence pick for me was seasons 5, 6, 7 of Enterprise.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Oh, painful.
Foz, any take on these?
I love it. He's always looking to blow something up from the first season, and
breaking the ice when he blows up
a specialty.
The comet. How about you, Adam? What's your thoughts?
It's a great episode. The birth of the Federation, essentially, is in this episode. Yeah, and Malcolm has a lot of shacks in him. All he wants to do is blow something up.
He does. He does have a lot of shacks in him. And we got a Shaq's Malcolm Reed shout out in Pathological Fallacies on this last season on Lower Decks. Great callback. I love it. Okay. All right. Secondary systems. Let's try to rattle these off quick. We got a lot. I've got a lot on my list. Arielle, what do you got?
Let's see what you can do with the secondary systems.
You guys ticked off a good chunk of my secondary systems in your picks, but I'll just rattle them off. I have the cold open in Voyager for Think Tank, where we first meet the Think Tank members, and it's just this really cool collection of people.
That's on my list. Yeah,
I've got this is brutal, but Garrick torturing Odo in the Dies Cast.
That is not on my list.
I'm sorry. I love that episode. It's rough. It's really rough.
Of course.
Episode.
Yeah.
It's character building for both of them. Damar shooting Rusat in Tacking into the Wind, basically solidifying himself as the leader that they need, or what. It's just, again, he's one of the best character arcs in all of Trek. Pretty much any scene in The Most Toys where Data's talking to Kivas Fajo.
Oh my god!
Toys.
I forgot about that. Yes, excellent.
Yeah, the scene where Picard and Hugh reunite in Picard. The artifact. I don't know if I was like, I know it's a Borg cube, but my brain was like, it's Romulan. Keep it off my list. But that's not the case. So I wanted it to make secondary systems. At least.
I love the Hugh hug.
I love the Hugh hug. It's just such a warm moment. Again, in such a cold environment, it's such like a warm hug of a scene. I love it.
Well, I also like to remind people that again, different Star Trek. That was like the 5th episode, and it was the 6th episode of Picard. The 5.5 episodes before that, not one person greeted Picard warmly or friendly. Every single person was like, "Dude, what are you doing? Oh my god, who are you? What? You're blowing it." Until that moment, it was so gratifying.
Yeah. Okay, I got one more. I'm sorry.
Yep.
This is a giant stretch, so bear with me. If we're willing to count Empok Nor, an alien space, a Cardassian space station, as an alien ship, then I'd like to count any scene from either the Magnificent Ferengi or Empok Nor, because it's great.
Cheating is allowed.
But if we count Empok Nor, we count. Thank you. I'm cheating. I know it's cheating, but
nobody cheated until the end of your second.
No, cheating is allowed.
Pretty good, but yeah, cheating encouraged. Empok Nor. Okay, Foz, how about you?
Okay, well, most of all my secondary systems have been talked about, but I don't think we mentioned Nightingale from Voyager, where Harry takes command. Has all his stuff up in the captain's room, and he gets questioned about it.
Yep. I just rewatched that.
I've always liked that episode. It has a little Firefly feel to it with with book and everything on there.
Yeah.
And then really the only two that no one had mentioned was a couple movies I thought about was Star Trek 2009 at the end whenever he has the second in command's gun and
right. Yeah.
And which I love that actor as well. He's always great and stuff.
Yeah.
And then in Nemesis, the all the sad stuff and action stuff on the end ship in Nemesis.
Oh yeah, the death of Data.
Yeah,
the first one.
No.
Tears.
I love it. Though I can't. Yeah, no movies got picked. We'll do stats in a second. Adam, any others on your list?
Yeah, the ones were not mentioned. I had Balance of Terror between the Romulan commander and the Centurion.
Oh yeah,
discussions
good
basically
stuff.
Mirroring Kirk and McCoy.
Yep.
I had the Serene Squall.
Oh yeah, okay.
Oh my god,
I thought of that one too. I forgot about that.
Had considered.
I had Picard surrender aboard the Shrike with Riker and Troy in the brig in that conversation they had.
Yeah, yep.
And lastly, I had In the Pale Moonlight when Vreenak's shuttle exploded, starting the Romulans in the war.
Okay,
so it was
a
small moment aboard the ship, but it was pretty definitive.
Yeah, okay, I love it. All right, I have a few more that haven't been mentioned. But you said Tacking into the Wind. I had the scene where they actually steal the ship and kill everybody on the bridge. I had Revulsion. I love this episode. Talk about horror in Star Trek for Voyager season 4 Revulsion. I love Leland Orser, the actor there, and all his crazy, just psychopathic antics, and like when he grabs Torres's heart through her chest as to try to kill her. Anyway, a lot of good scenes in that one for me. The changing face of evil when Worf kills Weyoun on board.
Good pick.
I love that one. Of course. I had Return to Grace, where they turn the Cardassian kind of cargo hold into a weapons bay and take out that Klingon ship. I had Flesh and Blood, which there's a lot of good scenes with the holograms and Iden on board their ship. I had Once More Under the Breach with Kor's finale in Star Trek. I loved that moment at the end. And I had Heart of Glory. I've talked about this before. I love Heart of Glory and that scene where they get those Klingons off of the Batris, that ship, and the explosion. It's really well staged. So that one popped into my head as well. So a whole bunch that we talked about. And then I had The Voyage Home, of course. I didn't mention that. The Voyage Home, which
of course,
the whole thing is worthy. You could just do one episode on the top 5 scenes on the Klingon ship in the Bounty, the Voyage Home. Exactly. Love it. Okay, let's get into our regeneration cycle. Let's recap, and I got a bunch of great stats to go through.
Computer, activate regeneration cycle. Alcoves beta and gamma.
Okay, Arielle, break down your picks.
Sure. My number 5 pick was Enterprise Season 3, Episode 23, Countdown, Archer on the Aquatic ship. Number 4, Scorpion Part 1, which is Voyager Season 3, Episode 23. This is the away mission to the Borg Cube and the 8472 bioship and their introduction. Number 3 was Discovery Season 3, Episode 11, Su'Kal, on the totally holographic ship. Number 2, TNG Season 3, Episode 20, Tin Man, which is on Gomtu with Tam Elbrun. And then my number 1 pick was DS9 Season 5, Episode 2, The Ship, at the end where Sisko is talking to the Vorta.
Okay, so like you said, you had 5 different incarnations, one from TNG, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, Enterprise, and Discovery. Foz, how about your breakdown?
Okay, if you didn't notice, I'd went chronological in the prime timeline here.
Good, yeah, I didn't notice. That's good.
With Enterprise, Fighter Flight, the original series, the Enterprise incident. Number 3 was the Next Generation's Matter of Honor. Number 2 was Deep Space Nine's The Ship. And number 1 was Voyager's Distant Origin.
I like your list even better knowing it's chronological. So you went Enterprise, TOS, TNG, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, straight through. Adam,
it gets so hard to pick.
It's so good, so good. Adam, what's your breakdown?
Number 5 at Lower Decks, Season 2, Episode 9, Wage Douche, aboard the Vulcan Shval. Everything with T'Lyn.
Yeah.
Number 4 at TNG, Season 3, Episode 20, Tin Man with Gomtu, and Data and Tam's Conversations. Number 3, I had TOS, Season 3, Episode 4, The Enterprise Incident with Spock and the Vulcan Commander. And number 2, I had Discovery, Season 3, Episode 13, That Hope Is You, Part 2, aboard the Caith, when Su'Kal sees the holographic recreation of his mother dying. And number 1, at DS9, Season 3, Episode 22, Explorers, aboard the Bajoran Lightship between Jake and Ben.
I love it. So you also spread it around at Lower Decks, and then TOS, TNG, Deep Space Nine, and Discovery. So none of us had any repeats. That's really interesting. So my 5 were Wedge Douche and the T'Lyn introduction of T'Lyn. My number 4 pick was a kind of a double dip with Discovery, Battle at the Binary Stars, and Into the Forest I Go with the Burnham fights. My number 3 pick was the Corbomite maneuver and the introduction of Balak, the first ever seen on an alien ship in Star Trek. My number 2 was the face of the enemy with Troy staring down Tereth in the captain's mess from TNG. And my number 1 was United from Star Trek Enterprise, Trip and Malcolm on board the Romulan drone ship. So I had Lower Decks, Discovery, TOS, TNG, and Enterprise. And here are some stat breakdowns. This is great. So I did, first of all, we had 4 duplicates. It didn't feel like we had 4 duplicates. That's amazing. And that doesn't even include Su'Kal and That Hope Is You, Part 2, which is super cool that you guys both had that. We had two picks for Brian Thompson, so let's get that out of the way. And then, so by species, here was the breakdown. We had 5 kind of alien of the week ships, and then 1 each for the aquatics species 8472 and Bajorans. 2 each for Kelpians, Klingons, and Vulcans. Oh, and also Jem'Hadar had 2. And then Romulans led the way with 4 overall picks. We had no Borg picks, so that's interesting.
Yeah, I would count mine as the 8472 as a joint Borg pick.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, of course it is. It's both. Yeah. Okay, let's split that. So we'll share that. Get 1 each for so 1 Borg pick as well. Good call, Arielle. All right. So in the series breakdown, no films were picked. That blows my mind. I really thought there'd be some films. We had 2 each from Voyager and Lower Decks, and then 3 each from 4 different series. This is really spread around. So we had TOS, Deep Space Nine, Enterprise, and Discovery all had 3 each, and TNG led the way with 4 picks. So we really spread it around and got a lot covered with our 20 different picks of scenes on an alien ship. Wow, I gotta take a breath. Okay, but now we've entered a temporal inversion, so it's time to hear from you.
Initiate temporal inversion.
Initiating.
And for this week's temporal inversion, we're going back just a couple of episodes to episode 169 and our top 5 Trek tropes. We got in a great voicemail from Ben Nicholson at Ben Kerr Now. And he actually did his on YouTube and sent us a link, so we downloaded it from there. So here we go.
Hello. Today I'm going to do something slightly different. It's not going to be one of my normal rankings. This one is a ranking from the TrekRanks podcast. They're 170 episodes in as of this recording. And I'm going to have a go at the 169th ranking top 5 Star Trek tropes. Now, I'm doing it in the format of that podcast. If you don't understand, please go and give it a watch. And even if you do understand, still, please go and give it a watch. Brilliant podcast. Go and watch it. So, number 5. Vulcan, Betaside, changing to Laxian, Denoblin. New aliens, new civilizations. The Solo New Alien. Pick number 4.7. 94% of TrekRank listeners love maths. The recurring reference to 47. Third pick is Wait. Who's running the ship? Dibs on the Way mission. All department heads going on the Way mission. Number 2 pick. The Long and Winding Road. Hashtag plot time. The long corridor walk or the turbo lift trip from A to Z. And my number 1 pick is Infinite Tropes in Infinite Combinations. Hashtag never ending tropes. This is all of Lower Decks. Brilliant series and full of brilliant tropes. Thanks for watching, and please go and give TrekRanks a listen. Brilliant podcast.
So I love this list from Ben. His the solo aliens pick is a great trope with like 1 Vulcan, 1 Founder, 1 Talaxian on these different casts, and he had Lower Decks, as kind of all tropes, which we kind of talked about on the show. So awesome list from Ben. Once again, those picks more than enough to clear ourselves from this week's temporal inversion. So as always, I want to thank everyone for all your great responses to the TrekRanks podcast. Please keep your list coming to me at TrekRanks on Twitter so we can retweet them. But we also want to hear from you. So put together your own list of top 5 scenes on an alien ship or a list from any of our past shows. Give us a call at the Tricorder Transmissions at 609-512-5527, or just record it and send me a DM. We can connect that way as well. So hopefully we'll hear from you so you can be featured on the next episode of TrekRanks. And on the next episode of TrekRanks, we are doing another character deep dive episode. It's been a while. We've only done 1 in the last year. This one is all about the most important person in Starfleet history. It's the top 5 Miles O'Brien episodes. Cannot wait to deep dive on our friend Miles O'Brien from TNG and Deep Space Nine. So, Arielle, Foz, and Adam, if you had to choose 1 Miles O'Brien episode or a moment, you remember we kind of combined however you want to do this, What would you pick? Arielle, what do you got for Miles O'Brien?
Oh God. Okay, I am a DS9, forever and always my number one. But I actually am gonna pick the TNG The Wounded for my number one Miles O'Brien moment.
The minstrel boy to the war has gone. I could keep going, but I won't.
That is exactly the moment I'm alluding to. He's just a great character. That's even before he becomes a great character.
I know, incredible. So
we should have known we were going to get the best character, the most important men in Star Trek after we got The Wounded.
I love it. Foz, what do you got?
I can't remember the name of the episode right off, but the one where he goes undercover.
Honor Among Thieves.
Yeah,
Honor Among
that
Thieves.
one. I always love that episode.
That's a great episode.
So good. One of my favorites. Adam, how about you?
First thing that popped in my head was The Wounded, but if I had to pick another one, I would go with Emissary, when they finally moved the station. And he says to the computer, you and I have to have a little talk.
Oh, that's so good. Early Deep Space Nine Miles is fantastic. Man, all three of those are going to be in consideration for me when we do that one.
Channel closed. Reset. Subspace communications. Scrambler code Riker 1.
Okay, Scrambler code Riker 1 acknowledged. Let's close this episode out with a huge thanks to Arielle K, Foz Rotten, and Adam Sanders. It was awesome having you guys on the show. So any Trek Scrambler codes you want to relay before we depart, Arielle?
Thanks for having me on again. Always a great time. I had a lot of fun with you guys today talking Trek.
Love it. Foz, how about you, man?
Thank you again for having me on. Anybody wants to talk Trek with me, at Foz Rotten everywhere. I'm still on Twitter, Instagram, everywhere.
And check out Boldly Go, the Star Trek punk rock band that Foz fronts. They're awesome. Adam, how about you? Thanks for coming on, man.
Absolutely. Foz and Arielle, great to do this with you. I'm in Mets fan 1701. Anybody wants to talk Trek or Mets for that matter? Mets.
Or the Mets.
Let's go Mets.
Or the Mets. Let's go Mets. It's great. And it was great to be back, Jim. Thanks for having me.
I love it. Thank you guys for engaging with us here again on episode 172 of the TrekRanks podcast. As always, I want to close by saying I'm looking forward to standing with you again here in this place where I belong.
Would anyone care for a game of chess when we are finished with our second duty shift?
No, I will be composing an arrangement for the loot, which should take several hours.
I am available for chess.
Just want to remind everyone again that the entire TrekRanks catalog is available for you to download and listen to at TrekRanks.com and on your podcast player of choice. Our episodes never get carbon dated, so check out the topics you've missed and maybe just want to listen to again over at TrekRanks.com. And a reminder to check out our friends 5-Year Mission at 5yearmission.net. They're writing a song for every episode of Star Trek, and you won't believe how great their music is. They also have a podcast at the Trek Geeks Network, so seek them out. You won't regret it.
I received the Soteric citation for my actions that day. The intelligence officer in charge of that mission was executed. Major, welcome to our table.
Commander.
I suggest you try the Venerine. It's quite good. I realize that it's nothing compared to what you're accustomed to on Romulus. But you could at least try the Venerine.
I've smelled better Venerine on prison ships.
No doubt.